Academy of Sciences. Welcome in our academy. The topic is important, especially for our country, as it is strongly related to the way how urbanization is going on. And we hope that this activity will help a bit to improve something. To continue with the activity, I ask our colleague, Professor Oscar, to continue with the program.
Thank you very much, Academic Brasherie. Ladies and gentlemen, dear all participants, good morning and welcome. It is an honor to stand before such a dedicated, passionate group of individuals committed to one of the most urgent issues of our time, the protection and restoration of our environment. We find ourselves at a critical moment in history where choices we make today will shape the world for generations to come. Environmental problems, starting from climate change and deforestation vegetation to water and air pollution and biodiversity loss, are not just challenges for a distant future, they are real pressing crises happening right now. And they are the environment affecting every aspect of our lives, from the air we breathe, to the food we eat, from the health and of our communities to the stability of economics across the globe. The theme of today's conference, Innovating for the Sustainable Future, more concretely urban environment and relationship between construction and greening, invites use, rethink, and reimagine, and most importantly, take action. We are gathered here not only to discuss these problems, but to explore solutions. We are here to collaborate, to share ideas, and to forge partnerships that can drive the collective action needs to address environmental degradation. In the face of these challenges, many may feel not so well or powerless, but I'm here to tell you that we are not powerless. Every one of you, whether as individuals, organizations, or governments, has a role to play, whether through invitation, policy, education, growth movements. We have the tools, the knowledge, and the opportunity to make a difference. We have already witnessed the power of collective action in many parts of the world, from the Paris Agreement to the rise of renewable energy technologies, from the success to local conservation efforts to the global push for sustainable development goals. We know the progress is possible, but we also know that much more needs to be done. This conference will feature a diverse range of experts, from scientists and policymakers, activists, and we who will present ideas, research, and strategies that are helping to shape a more sustainable world. We'll hear about cutting-edge solutions in clean energy, waste management, conservation, construction, greenery, and sustainable urban development. We'll discuss the role of innovation and technology in tackling environmental problems, and we'll learn about the importance of equity and social justice in ensuring the environmental solution benefit of humanity, particularly the most vulnerable communities. But let us not forget that while technology and policy are crucial, our greatest asset is our collective will. As we move through this conference, I urge each of you to not only listen, but to engage, to challenge this aspiration, and to live here with a renewed sense of urgency and purpose. Let us leave this space today, not just as individuals who are aware of this issue, but as advocates and agents of change, commitment to making a real impact. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your commitment to this cause. I look forward to the discussion, the insights, and the action that will come of this conference. Together, we can create a sustainable future for all. Let's begin our journey today, healthier, more sustainable planet. Thank you. Thank you very much. And now I am to invite the rector of the University Metropolitan Tirana to tell something and about this university in this Israel. Professor, it's for you.
Morning, everybody. Dear professors, colleagues, and participants of this conference, it is a great pleasure to welcome you on behalf of the So I will start again as soon as the head of the Academy of Science is here. So I have prepared with dear Professor Ginucci, Chairman of the Academy of Science, dear professors and participants. It's a great pleasure for me to welcome you on behalf of the University Metropolitan Tirana to this conference dedicated to the urban environment and more precisely to the relation between construction and greening in urban areas. The conference is one of the activities of the project that our university is implementing in cooperation with the Academy of Science and the National Agency for Research and Development. The University Metropolitan Tirana is a 13 years old private university that offers academic studies in fields of computer science, including artificial intelligence, economics, civil engineering, and architecture. During the last years, after establishing a good standard of academic activity, we have taken certain measures to lead toward an increased involvement of our academic staff in research activities. And now we are getting the first result. Some of our lecturers, thanks to their research activity, have met the conditions to earn the title of associate professor. And on the other hand, 12 students are attending our PhD school in the field of artificial intelligence and intelligent systems and are carrying out valuable research work using AI methods in various fields like energy, medicine, and robotics. Participation in research projects is also a priority for the University Metropolitan Tirana. In recent years, we have been engaged in a few research projects from which we have gained good experiences, such as a project called Smart for All, which was an EU-funded research innovation Horizon 2020 project. Recently, a number of researchers from our university are involved in the preparation of project proposals in different calls from European or national projects and hope that a few of them will be successful. We are proud that the team from the Faculty of Civil Engineering and Architecture of our university, headed by Professor Airi Aska, have been successfully involved in the implementation of this project, and we hope that other teams from our university will follow. In conclusion, I'd like to thank all the participants for their contribution and wish all of you a successful conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now we have a presentation from Professor Haska. One moment to have the presentation ready.
apologize for this tardiness, but thank you very much. Thank you, President of Academy of Science, for your participation. I will present something. Maybe are some slides a lot, but I will present shortly something about the construction and greenery, the relationship that have together this. So my presentation is green infrastructure and the urban scale component for sustainable environment and quality of the life of community. So if, for example, in the others, the time, for example, in the Greece, in the Roma, was the idea that the world was lead only from the philosophers. But now, in all the world, is another idea that the world will led by ecologists. So from science creation on mankind to more important is the West was first only for the shelter and for the food. So two important is the West are in all the world. The world now continues to be extremely overpopulated, especially in the recent decades. So you can see here in this slide, for example, that 1,880 was only 1 billion, and for example, in 2,100 will go 10.9 billion inhabitants in all the world. And except overpopulated, but the world is in the urbanization. For example, in 1,980 was only 50% in that lives in urban area. And now, for example, is this in 2050, 70% would go in the urban area. So except the construction of the buildings is very, very important, and the greenery. So for example, we have now that have the name green infrastructure. And this green infrastructure is very, very important for one inhabited center. And here we have for three important groups. First groups are green infrastructures, including buildings, autoroads, turbine lines, and others, squares, parking lots, etc. Second groups, blue infrastructures, including water bodies, lakes, ponds, rivers, water channels, etc. And third groups are green infrastructure that are here include the urban forests, including urban forests, peri-urban forests, trees, shrubs, grass, etc. Optimizing the interaction among these elements is the key to relationship or building seeds and others in urban settlements. So now, before, for example, for the greenery, is not have a very, very important in some institutions. So now, for example, in the FAO, have for example, in 2016, something about the urban forest and have definition farming types of urban forest. Green infrastructure and tree vegetation are very, very important. You can see here in this slide that here, for example, in the left, have one definition from European Union, and in the other side from one other definition from European Environment Agency for the importance because provide them benefits from the nature to the people. Construction and greenery are very, very important that together need to have one very, very good ratio and not, for example, to have something more construction and not greenery. Here is, for example, one very, very important issue. You can see here that exists one very good platform in all the world and have more 10,000 stations around the world. And here, measure the air quality index is with standard the United States. You can see here, for example, you can see here, for example, Yeah, can see here. And unfortunately, in Albania are only 2 stations in Tirana. In Pristina, for example, are 10 stations that measure in real time all the components of the air. And you can see here, for example, that Tirana is A. You can see that Tirana is A is good. It's okay, you can see, and the other side. And for example, in Pristina is 175 that you can see that is with the red color that is very, very bad, the air in this station. But I say that Pristina have 4 stations in Pristina, have in Prizren, in Gjilan, and others. Yeah, you can see here, for example, the 0 to 50 is good, 51, 100 is moderate, 150 is one healthy, etc. And here you can see you can see the map that all the 10,000 stations in the world that you measure the air quality in real time. In others that is very important is ways here and the city that are covered by greenery. The last year, this year, 2024, from the World Bank is done one study for the 6 countries of the Balkans. And you can see here, for example, the Tirana, you can see are the patient, for example, with the greenery here. Yeah, Tirana is not so good because here are again in real time, for example, in 2015 and 2020. And some cities, for example, in here are very, very bad. For example, Fier, Vlora, Saranda, you can see in graphic. And Tirana is not so good, but have only because in the blue are the greenery in 2015 and with the yellow color out in 2020. In this other side is the tree canopy cover and the vegetation in urban area in this side. It's very, very interesting because the greenery is very important in the city and for climate change because it has a lot of impacts. 3 very important as well. Firstly, is the population. Secondly, is the resource using of the resources. And thirdly, as the technology. You can see here that the population, and here the natural resources and technology that is used. And unfortunately, in Albania, that is in Mediterranean country, this will impact about the climate change. For example, we have a temperature increase and the sea level rise, and again, and the rainfall will drop. Yeah. Here in this slide, we can see that are different scenarios. For example, for temperature, the rise significantly up to 3 degrees in a few decades, sea level will rise, and we have a decrease in the amount of the rain precipitation, also in shorter unit for the time. Here we'll see 3 scenarios for the temperature in Albania in 2115 and 26. And here for the rain again. Yeah, you can see here, for example, in some cities, in Kunevain, in Velipoja, that will have the problems because, for example, some scenarios that have still then will increase. The air component is some factors that impact negatively. For example, you can see here, I don't say a lot. For example, urban waste, earth waste, refrigerators, potty-slums, phenomena, acoustic pollution, fire, seeping, factories, bakeries, presence of decomposition of living organisms in urban areas, technology use of service in residential centers, the use of pesticides and herbicides, smoking in public, hospital waste, and the specific case as air pollution from the emissions of biogenic voltaic compounds that the last decade from studies from the NOVA, one colleague from the United States, that some kinds of decreased pollution air. For example, the platanus is very, very bad. Pollution air because in temperature more 32, if a temperature, these trees emit in the air very, 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 very bad voltaic compound. And for example, it's very, very bad. The platanus is very, very good Ilia in the city because Bliris Mimiri. Ilia have not the monoterpenes, not terpenes, is very, very clear, and we can plant in a lot of the cities in Albania. For example, unfortunately, in Tirana, in Valona, have a lot of planting from the platanus, rapid, and not plant more the Ilia level. Identification of benefits derived from vegetation, tree shrubs in urban area. We have two more benefits, environmental benefits and economic, social, physical benefits. You can see here, for example, environmental benefits like shading, lighting reduction, reduction of carbon dioxide, wind control, active stemming, erosion, oxygen production, pollution reduction, noise reduction, water quality, hydrology, temperature and energy use, and animal habitats and flora. And then others, economic and physiologic benefits for aesthetic preference, human social issues, health, recreation, visual brand, production of the product in some time, economic stability, and the property value. For example, if for example, when we have the property have more of the value if it's in the greenery place, like one place that have not trees. You can see here that trees and shrubs are the base structure of urban greenery associated with flowers, grass, etc. For example, here we are in Pogrades city that are in the green infrastructure atmospheric phenomenon. It's, for example, very, very important when we have one cover with greenery. It's one that called the albedo. For example, the albedo when is from 1 to 10, also from 1 to 100, from the snow to waters and to greenery is very, very good. You can see here, for example, from different albedo that is in different fields. Tirana, as something about the Tirana here, some data, and here about the Corsa. And here is, you can see here that this, I am in the end now, here is a perfect solution. Because in the center of all the cities in the world is the phenomenon of Islam. Because in the center, the air is more the hot, and the air that is more the hot go in rise, and other air that is the fresh come from the periphery and to come in the center. But it's the problem because all the centers have the phenomenon of hot Islam. You can see here that is a perfect solution. In the center, for example, city more greenery. So not have the hot Islam phenomenon. Here I have something and closeness to. We are here in the World Congress, and one Albanian architecture have one the prize for best oral presentation in 400 presentations. We are in other places. But we need to have them careful because in the city and the nature and because, for example, because the Nepal, the Himalayas, the top is in the Nepal and the China. But one scientist, Stan Amington from the Nepal, have said, Nepal is here to change you. You are not here to change the Nepal. This is very, very important because we need to have a lot of tourists, but not to change the mainland, but we to change the tourists in our. Thank you. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you. Thank you very much. And now the dean of the faculty that Neritan Skodrani have prepared together with the team one presentation that titled Progress and the Environmental Impacts from the Construction Sector in the Territory of Tirana Municipality. You can present in the name of your team.
Hello, everyone. I'm Indy Telay. I'm co-author at the article that I'm presenting today. The article is Progress of Environmental Impacts from the Construction Sectors in the Territory of Tirana Municipality. The first author is Neritan Skodrani, second author Clean Semema, and the third author, it's me, Indy Telay. Let's begin with the first part. Temporary or continuous human actions that may affect the carrying capacity of the environment or its biodiversity, or that have harmful impacts on the environment, are defined as negative interference with the environment. In terms of negative interventions in the environment, we mention here the implementation of construction works. Protecting the environment in its entirety and ensuring the conditions for the sustainable development of the country is a legal requirement of the Constitution of the Republic of Albania, the Special Law on Environmental Protection, the Special Law on Environmental Impact Assessment, and the Special Law on Territorial Planning and Development. Sustainable development, its economy, social and environmental. It is promoted by public authorities through compilation, approval, revision, change, modification, implementation, which leads from normative acts, strategies, plans, programs, and projects. When drafting and approving territorial planning documents, public authorities, among other things, should be based on the principle of an integrated approach, like preventing and reduction of risks to the environment in its entirety. It is considering those topics: environmental vulnerability, the connection between the balance and values of natural landscapes, the connection between renewable and non-renewable natural resources, cultural heritage and material assets, the entirety of their mutual interactions, interactions between existing and planned projects. In order to have sustainable and strategic development, it is necessary to have an integrated approach from an early stage, that of planning, followed by other stages of prevention, control, etc. In the last 3 decades, the ever-increasing demands for products from various sectors in the economy of Albania, it's followed by increasing pollution and environmental threat. It is consequence of the planning that the territory has been subjected 2, emphasizing environmental issues resulting from interactions between existing, new, and those that are planned projects. The protection from the environment from pollution and damage constitutes a national priority and is mandatory for every resident of the Republic of Albania. For all state bodies, as well as for natural and legal persons, domestic and foreign, who perform their activity in the territory of Republic of Albania. The purpose of this study is to assess the progress of environmental impacts from the construction sectors in the territory of the municipality of Tirana as a result of the planning to which the territory has been subject, accompanied by negative interventions from temporary or continuous human actions. The objectives of this study are to analyze the performance of the construction sector in Albania gross domestic products, to analyze the progress of approval of construction permits for residential and non-residential buildings in Tirana region, to analyze the progress of approval of EIA decisions for residential and non-residential building in Tirana region, to analyze the progress of environmental impacts from the construction sector in the territory of the municipality of Tirana, and to analyze the environmental impacts of the construction sectors referring to the planning that the territory of Tirana municipality has been subjected to. The second part of this presentation is about methodology. The methodology used to prepare the study and the results achieved are based on contemporary methods, that of qualitative and quantitative analysis. Information collection and data analysis. Information that is used for this article, it is through Instat and the National Environmental Agency. Gross domestic product by production methods from 2018 to 2023. Number of the surface area of building permits approved for new buildings from the years 2017 to 2023, and decision of the environmental impact assessment application review committee from 2015 to 2023. The period analyzed is from 2012 to 2018 to 2023. From the period from year 2017 to 2023, and the period from 2015 to 2023. For the data processing and analysis, a model was built in Excel program into which all the collected information was entered. About result and discussion. Construction sector in gross domestic production from 2018 to 2023. At the national level, according to the published by Instat for the period 2018 to 2003, out of 19 economic activities analyzed, the construction sector ranks among the three main sectors of gross domestic product, GDP, according to the classification of the economy activity. This is the chart that is shown the gross domestic products GDP by economic activity in million lakh from for years 2018 to 2023. This is the chart about gross domestic products GDP by economic activity in years 2018 to 2023. And the economic activity of construction ranks after agriculture, forestry and fishing, and wholesale and retail trade, according to an average of 11.71% of GDP for the 6 years considered in the assessments for the years 2018 to 2023. As it is shown in the graphs, the constructions is about 12% of all the economic activities. Number of building permits and surface area in Tirana districts for the years 2017 to 2023. To the left map, we can see the number of construction permits approved in the territory of Albania for the years 2017 to 2023. Referring to the data published by Instat from those years, in this entire territory of Republic of Albania have been approved in total 8,436 building permits, residential and non-residential buildings, and about 12 million surface area, approximately at the regional level, the highest number of permits and approved areas held by Tirana region. And at the left map, we can see the area of construction space in square meter approved in the territory of Albania for these years, which leads to 2,464 building permits, residential and non-residential buildings, about 9 million square meter surface area. And at the chart, we can see the percentage of approved permits and area of Tirana County in the total territory of Albania. It's about 100 building permit and 29.22% and space area, and its percent like 68.993. Number of area decision in Tirana districts for the years 2015 to 2023. Referring to data published by the NEA from 2015 to 2023, results that the national level, a total of 6,487 procedures for projects that have an impact on the environment has been approved, of which 437 environmental statements and 6,050 preliminary area decision. As it is shown at the graphs, Tirana country has the largest number of environmental impact assessment approved. At the second graphs, we can see environmental impact assessment for those years, 2015 to 2023. Referring to the data taken into consideration, it results that the highest number of preliminary area decision are issued for project with environmental impact in Tirana region, with 2021 leading with 310 decision, and 2023 with 309 decisions. The highest number of preliminary area decision at the national level for the projects with environmental impact is held by Tirana region, with 2015 decision. Performance of environmental impacts from the construction sectors in Tirana municipality from years 2015 to 2023. As we can see the chart of environmental impact assessment in the municipality of Tirana. At the national level, 32% of projects with environmental impacts has been assessed to Tirana region, with 73% of this project concentrated only in Tirana municipality. The municipality of Tirana is the municipality with the highest number of approved procedures for projects that have an impact on the environment, with a total number of 1,491. The highest number of procedures approved by projects that have an impact on the environment in the municipality of Tirana is 234, and were approved in 2021. This is the chart of environmental impact assessment area by year at the municipality level of Tirana country. Environmental impact performance from the construction sector in Tirana municipality from years 2015 to 2023. In the territory of Tirana, for the period 2015-2023, 1,466 preliminary procedures have been approved for the project that have an impact on the environment, of which 1,353 are for the project from the construction sectors as below. Industrial real estate development projects has the number of 299. Urban development projects have the number of 1,054, and other projects it has the number for projects 113. It is shown and in the chart, but to emphasize that the projects for reconstruction and construction of individual buildings for residential purpose with 1 to 3 floors has not been taken in consideration as they are not subject to the environment impact assessment procedures. So we can go on with the fact that the indicator of gross domestic products, construction permits, and the environmental impact assessment for the evaluated periods show that the central and local policies in the field of territorial planning have made it possible for the construction sectors to be among the main economic activities, a sector which is mostly concentrated in the territory of the Tirana municipality, exerting pressure in the environmental components in this territory. These policies integrated into general local plans and detailed local plans for period 2017-2023 only from the construction sector have caused the territory of the Republic of Albania to lose an average of approximately 2 million square meters of surface area per year, where the greatest loss is in the territory of municipality of Tirana, an average of 1,200,000 square meter of surface area per year. The main impacts on the environment of the territory of the municipality of Tirana are caused by construction works, implementation projects, directly or indirectly affecting the state of environmental components such as air, soil, water, climate, flora and fauna, and in the entirety of interactions with each other. It's worth mentioning that the average monthly data published by the NEA for the period 1st January 2020 March to 31 March 2020 shows that the values of PM 2.5 and other pollutions like CO2, NO2, benzene, PM10 in the municipality of Tirana decreased significantly as a result of drastic measures against the spread of SARS-CoV-2 infection, where the Tirana Center air monitoring station of PM2.5 indicator recorded the values of 35 microgram per cubic meter in January, in 16 microgram per cubic meter in the February and 12 microgram per cubic meter in the March. While the Tirana PHI air monitoring station for the PM2.5 indicator, the values were recorded 13 microgram per cubic meter in January, 6 microgram per cubic meter in February, and 7 microgram per cubic meter in March. The reduction of level of PM 2.5 particles and other pollution in the air came as a result of a reduction in vehicle circulation and the break that the construction sectors took in the Tirana municipality. With the resumption of vehicle circulation and the construction sector, the environment quality situation began to deteriorate, making the gradual increase in average values of over previous pollution levels. So, environmental impacts from the construction sector Tirana municipality, let's say that it's in air, water, earth, noise, waste, flora and fauna, biodiversity, and landscape. So let's go to the last part, the first one, conclusion and the recommendations. The lack of sustainable and strategic planning has led to increase the number of projects with environmental impact from year to year. Construction sectors for residential and non-residential buildings, treating the environment of the territory of Tirana municipality. For several years, the territory of Albania, including the municipality of Tirana, has been in the absence of general plans and detailed local plans, which has enabled the construction sectors to develop with interaction with existing projects. Even today, in the territory of municipality of Tirana, detailed local plans have not been approved for some structural units. The central and local policies applied during these years in the field of environmental protection and territorial planning, as well as the unjustified market demand, for residential and non-residential constructions have been exposed to the territory of Tirana municipality to continuous environmental and social impacts, increasing the pressure on the components of the environment in the territory. The development to the territory of Tirana municipality, mainly in the construction sector for residential and non-residential buildings, has caused other economic sector to develop at a very slow pace. This is a result of the lack of planning from an early stage, developing the territory in an suitable and non-strategic manner, sustainable and non-strategic manner. As a result of a lack of early planning and promotion of sustainable and strategic environmental policies by public authorities, the lack of interaction between existing, new and planned projects, it has become possible to have a non-uniform distribution of the construction sector at the national level and centralized only in Tirana region, headed by the municipality of Tirana. Referring to the structural units of the respective PDFs for each municipality of Tirana districts, the non-uniform distribution and mixed destination of urban land used system are noted, in which are found the categories of residence, services, industry, and economy. Agricultural, social, recreational activities, etc., making other economic activities find ground for carrying out their non-residential polluting activities near residential areas, where most of them are concentrated in structural units located near the main road access. The lack of integrated environmental management system by public authorities, a system that would manage the entire environmental protection mechanism, emphasize a major problem in terms of air, water, noise, soil quality, etc. in the Tirana region, where the highest number of constructions works that affect the environment are concentrated. An integrated environmental management system should be built as soon as possible, part of which is the environmental information system and monitoring of the state of the environment. This system should be accessible by all public authorities and the public should have access to it. Monitoring of the state of the environment by public authorities and by economic activities with environmental impacts is not continuous, which makes the report results not reliable. The lack of integrated network for monitoring the state of the environment, where the quality of the environment, including the quality of air, water, noise, soil, waste, landscape, flora, and fauna, is cause and effect of the development of the territory in a sustainable and non-strategic manner. Environmental policies, strategies, plans, programs, and projects cannot be drafted, reviewed, or modified with the aim of protecting the environment in its entirety and a sustainable development of the country, where there is no information on the components of the environment. So this is our presentation. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Enzi. Thank you for your presentation, Neritan and Clant. And now we will continue with the first sessions. And now with from the academic Nekifrasim, Professor Dr. Abdullah Minakai from Bursa Technical University of Bursa in Turkey. But I think maybe 2 minutes to take a photo because I have here and the president of academy. We'll continue to stay here. Okay, let's continue now and after to finish.
We continue with the program. The first presentation has to do with urban development and seismic risk management by academic Apameni and Master Olget Jutsi. Olget is going to do the presentation.
Hello to everyone. My name is Olga Judy, and in the name of my colleagues, I want to present the urban development and challenges in seismic risk management. The presentation has 16 slides and it is organized in 8 main topics. So I will try to be short and conscious. And I want to start over the past 3 decades, Albania has experienced a significant urbanization driven by the demographic shift, social economic development, and extensive infrastructure expansion. This rapid transformation reshaped the country's urban environment, reflecting a broad trend of modernization and economic growth. However, Albania's geographical and geological context makes it particularly vulnerable to a range of natural hazards, such as earthquakes, floods, landslides, and coastal erosion. This is coupled with the pressure of rapid urban growth have highlighted the critical challenge in urban planning infrastructure development and environment management. To address this issue, it is imperative to adopt integrated strategy that combine sustainable urban planning with robust risk assessment and mitigation measures. As you know, Albania is situated along the Adriatic-Ionian seismic belt. That as a region characterized by active tectonics and at the boundary of the Africa and the Eurasia plate. This geological setting has made the country prone to frequent earthquakes, particularly in the western part. Through its history, Albania has experienced several strong earthquakes. Below, we have prepared a short animation of 2,000 years seismic activity for strong earthquake up to 5 magnitude. And we bring this presentation just to remind how potential is Albania in seismic risk. So only the events with magnitude up 5 are presented. Below, it is more dense. But as I mentioned before, Albanian cities have experienced a rapid urban expansion driven by population growth and rural to urban migration. This growth has taken 2 primary forms. One, it is a horizontal expansion, and the second is vertical expansion. The horizontal growth, the outward expansion of the city in peri-urban area, often resulting in low dense development and informal settlement. That has increased the pressure on infrastructure, services, and natural resources. The vertical growth, high-rising buildings, and modern skyscrapers have transformed urban skyline. I have prepared a short chart of how the height of the high-rising building has evolved. Since the year 2000, we had the maximum of 70 meters. Now in 2023, we have reached 150 meters, and we are planning to go to 205 meters. This high-rising building now needs an adequate or risk management, but the 4 key important role of take in consideration higher rising building is the seismic safety, energy efficiency, fire safety, and maintenance. I will stay a bit to the seismic safety, which is important for high-rising building to have a advanced structural design using different techniques such as a base isolation system, dissipator, to minimize the shaking during an earthquake, or designing flexibility to allow the controlled deformation without a collapse, using national and international codes, European or American codes. What is most important is the site specification and hazard analyzing using real accelegrams or scaled accelegrams. And what is the next important is the foundation consideration. In general, in Albania, the embankment depth, it meets this requirement, and also the type of the foundation. But in many cases, the seismic risk, it may amplify by other risks. In such case, climate change can affect also in seismic risk, can be affected before the earthquake and after the earthquake. Before, in case of heavy raining, we can easily have a landslide and soil liquefaction because the saturation of soft soil with water, and it makes it easy to slide the slope and to have the liquefaction. Other post-earthquake effects, it may have damage of the water system. It can have flood if this water system have been damaged. Also, the increase of the tsunami risk as a result of rise of the water level, sea level, and cascadian infrastructure failures such as power grid, transport system, water supplies. But another problem, it is the aging infrastructure. Structural tear and wear and tear over the time, material like concrete, steel, and wood deteriorate, reducing the ability to stand to the seismic forces. Factors like corrosion, fatigue, and material brittleness make older structure more prone to collapse during the earthquake. Lack of seismic design. Many old building doesn't meet the requirement of the seismic designs, or in case they have accumulated damage from the past earthquakes. But seismic risk mitigation can be minimized through urban planning. The core principle of the seismic risk mitigation in urban planning, it is hazard assessment and zoning, land uses planning, building codes and regulation, urban design for earthquake resilience, such as open space, road network, compact, safe urban, because in case of emergency, we need the road for communication, open space for evacuation or emergency plan, strategy for risk mitigation, pre-earthquake planning, and post-earthquake preparedness, integrating technology in urban planning, such as early warning system and smart cities. But from the past strong earthquake in 2019, in Dulce earthquake, we learned a lot of from the earthquake, and it's clear it was needed a risk management plan. But I want to be short. In my opinion, two key factor influence the effect on earthquake. One, it was the geological aspect, and one is the civil engineering aspect. One is the soft soil condition and the characteristic of the geology modifying the shaking, and the second is the construction that doesn't meet many structural requirements. But from the we come to the conclusions. So in 2019 Durrës earthquake exposed a significant vulnerability to the risk management, building infrastructure, and emergency preparedness. Many urban areas in Albania are not adequately prepared for large seismic events. Existing infrastructure is not always resilient to earthquakes. The earthquake highlight the importance of proactive planning, strong building codes, and timely coordinate disaster response. Vulnerable population, particularly in informal settlements, suffering disproportionate impact, underscoring the need of inclusive risk management also to these urban areas. Our recommendations are enhancing the seismic risk assessment, strengthening the building code, improving emergency preparedness, invest in resilient infrastructure, increase public awareness, focus on vulnerable groups, and strengthen the international cooperation. I want to close with the say there are no natural disasters, only natural events, and humans fail to prepare from them. And thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.
It looks open, but okay, now it's better. Is there any questions from the audience? Okay. It was a very important presentation since we have to understand that we have to live with the earthquakes. And when we talk about the development of the cities, it's not just that aesthetical values, but also geologically and also silviculturally is important, as Olger expressed, should be evaluated from both these disciplines in order to come up with the let's say optimal design of the cities, considering this challenge of the earthquakes. Thanks again. So let's continue with the second presentation. It's going to be given by Silvia from Croatia. And the title is Participatory Mapping of Cultural Ecosystem Services of Urban Green Infrastructure. This is a case study concerning the Zagreb in Croatia.
Good morning, everyone, and greetings from Croatia, from Croatian Forest Research Institute. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Please, yeah, you can proceed with your presentation.
Okay, thank you. So you can see my presentation. Thank you. Today I will talk about the participatory mapping of cultural ecosystem services of urban green infrastructure based on the example of the city of Zagreb in Croatia. Zagreb is the capital of Croatia and one of the greenest European capitals. About 1/3 of Zagreb is covered by forests, 1/3 by agricultural area, and 1/3 by built areas. And within those built areas, you also have all sorts of types of urban green infrastructure, such as parks, tree lines, individual trees, lawns, etc. The presentation that I'm giving today is based on the project that we recently finished. It was called Improving Green Infrastructure Planning and Management through Participatory Mapping of Cultural Ecosystem Services. So why cultural ecosystem services? As you know, ecosystem services in general are the benefits that we receive from nature, in this case from urban green infrastructure. And cultural ecosystem services is one of those that are highly valued by urban residents. Those include recreational opportunities, cultural values, educational opportunities, and aesthetic values, and so on. So this project was nationally funded by the Croatian Science Foundation and co-funded by our institute. It was so-called installation research project. So the purpose of the project was to establish the research group, in this case related to the topic that I mentioned. And the goal of the project was to identify, quantify, and map cultural ecosystem services, some of those, not all of them, and these services, as well as negative perception of urban green infrastructure based on public perception and based on the green space type. We also explored what affects the perception, and the idea was to give recommendations to practitioners, especially how to include results of participatory mapping in current spatial planning and management of urban green infrastructure. If you want to know more about the project and all the publications that we had so far, here is the link on this slide, or just contact me. The project involved two stages. In the first stage, we had a qualitative approach where we conducted the focus groups with our citizens in each city district. In Zagreb, some of you maybe know, in Zagreb we have 17 city districts that are rather big. And with citizens, we discussed with them about urban green spaces in their city districts. So we asked them, here you can see on the left the ecosystem services that we addressed in those discussions, and those as place attachment, recreation, aesthetics, educational opportunities, and cultural identity.
Have you shared your presentation on the media? We are having difficulties watching your presentation.
Can you see my presentation?
Not now, but can you share it again, please?
I will try to share it again.
Yeah.
Share.
Okay, it's coming.
Okay, so far you haven't seen my presentation.
Yes, yeah, it's now.
You saw. Okay. Just a second.
You may go full.
Okay, now you can see everything. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
So we talked about them, about those ecosystem services of urban green spaces. We asked them, for instance, what urban green spaces they love the most in their neighborhoods, also to show it on the map of their city district and to explain why. The same for recreation, what urban green spaces in their neighborhood they used for recreational purposes, to show on the map and why, and so on. So in total, we conducted 20 focus groups in all city districts. In some city districts, we were twice because some city districts were very eager to participate. So one focus group was not enough for one city district, because in focus groups, you can have an average about 10 people. And we had to split somehow the participants in several focus groups. So almost 100 people participated, and the sample was balanced by gender, working people and senior citizens, but highly educated people prevailed, which is kind of a normal in this kind of social studies, that usually those who are highly educated or than the average population tend to participate more. So what was the result of all this exercise in the focus groups? For each city, for each cultural ecosystem services that we addressed, we were able to identify certain attributes that people attach to those services. For instance, for urban green spaces, they love the most. They said that those are urban green spaces that they have some positive memories. They could be a nice place for walking. They are well maintained. It's nearby to their homes. There are some facilities and walking paths and so on. For instance, for aesthetic appreciation, it was very important that those urban green space that they found the most beautiful are those that contain trees. So trees in general, or specific tree species, such as, for instance, magnolia trees, Japanese cherry, and so on. So those trees and vegetation that has colorful leaves or some interesting shape and so on. Either urban green spaces contain some beautiful views or had water bodies. Water bodies are really important for aesthetic appreciation, not only in Croatia, but worldwide. If you look in the public perception research. Regarding the educational opportunities of urban green space, those are urban green spaces that are closest to some educational facilities such as schools, kindergartens, universities, and so on. It has to have some sort of a facilities. Again, water bodies, historical parks are considered important for educational purposes, and so on. For cultural identity, it is usually urban green spaces that are popular meeting or recreational place. It somehow symbolizes the neighborhood or the city in general. And sometimes there is an interesting story that is related to that urban green space to have this cultural identity value. Below you can see how people attached those services to different types of tree-based urban green infrastructure. So we were able from interviews to identify 16 different types of urban green infrastructure and attach this to this cultural ecosystem services. As you can see, people can be attached to all sorts of types of urban green space, or they can find it beautiful, but for recreational purposes or educational purposes and so on, there are less number of types of urban green infrastructure that they mentioned. And all this exercise actually served for the second part of the project, where we developed PPGIS. It's a public participation geographic information system. It's sort of an online application for the participatory mapping of cultural ecosystem services and the services. So here you can see it was called My Dynamic City Zagreb. And it was used, here you can see on those maps how it looks like when they do the participatory mapping. So it resulted in almost 400 respondents, and those 400 respondents provided almost 6,000 spatial markers, which was really good results for us,
Lydia,
more than expected.
Excuse me for interrupting again.
Yeah.
Can you choose your current slide again? Because we are, I guess, stuck in the previous one. Can you select manually? Just you can go out full screen. Just yeah.
Mhm.
It's better just select your slides on the menu on the left. You don't have to go full screen just like this.
Okay.
Go ahead.
If it's okay with you,
Yeah.
I'm fine. So okay. Also those 6,000 almost 6,000 spatial markers were associated to 20 different types of urban green space, and you can make the maps of distribution of the spatial markers based on the service that you investigated, or it could be aggregated in hotspots and cold spots. Hotspots means that those are areas that receive the highest number of spatial markers, so cold spots receive the lowest or no spatial markers. Here you can see how those spatial markers were distributed based on the type of urban green infrastructure. As you can see on the bar chart, this light green is associated with parks. So the most mapped urban green space in Zagreb, based on those services and these services that we investigated, were related to parks. And it was followed later on by forests and park forests. As you can see, those three types were the mostly mapped by our residents. And one of the interpretation is actually because parks, you actually have in each city districts, in each neighborhood, there is some neighborhood park, at least one. And forests are usually on the outskirts of the city, on the marginal parts of the city, close to the border. So it shows actually the importance of having all sorts of types of urban green infrastructure in one city, not only parks, forests, but also those informal green space areas are those that people mentioned as well. If you have walking paths along the streams, these are also highly valued, and so on. So in the end, some experiences and lessons learned from this project, we think that what worked the best is that we used a combination of qualitative and quantitative approaches, and it also helped us to reach different user groups in our city. So focus groups were attracted mostly older people, people who like to be in person and to participate in the study, while let's say younger people, or let's say middle-aged people more participated in online surveys, this PPGIS online survey. Through focus groups, we were able to find information about the urban green spaces that are locally important in their neighborhoods, and not just those that are most popular. You know, in Zagreb, you have Maksimir Park, Jarun Lake, and so on. Everybody knows about that, and everyone goes to visit those areas. But if you want to know about what is locally important, you have to go in their city districts on the local level. This project also raised awareness about services and the services of urban green space. And what was good is that it was the first time that we applied PPGIS study in this in our country, and also in the whole Eastern Europe. And at that time, in Europe in general, it was not that often used, especially in terms of, in relation to urban green space. What was really challenging was that during the second phase, it was at the height of the COVID-19 pandemic. So it was not possible at all to collect in-person data. So we have to rely only on online collected data, which means that some people did not respond to those kind of surveys, like older participants, those who are less tech savvy, they had sometimes difficulties or don't have they are not inclined to participate in such kind of research. So the sample in the end was not representative, but it was not a problem for us. In general, when you look at what kind of services and these services people mentioned and mapped, in relation to urban green infrastructure, it is interesting that people tend to focus on positive. They tend to focus on benefits of urban green infrastructure, and not that much, only marginally, on negative perceptions, including the disservices. This PPGIS as a methodology is really interesting. It can add a new layer to the planning and management of urban green infrastructure, but it cannot actually replace the standard public participation modalities in issues related to spatial planning. Rather, it actually complements the existing modes of public participation that we already have in our cities. For that purpose, we also developed a handbook for practitioners, which is only in Croatian, but it is accessible online. how to actually include those kind of results in future planning and management of urban green infrastructure. If you want to hear more about the results in an easygoing way, there is a podcast that I participated in. It's called Three Lady Talks. There is a professional from UK who actually runs this podcast, and there are all sorts of different interviews with different people related to trees in urban green areas. So if you're interested, I highly recommend this podcast. And after all this project, we realized that we want to continue with the participatory mapping, not just only cultural ecosystem services, but also other ecosystem services. And we are focusing in our new project on forest parks, and not necessarily in Zagreb, but all over the Croatia. There is the project is called Zeleno srce grada, which means green heart of the city. And we want to dig in more deeper in the perception of forest parks based on the participatory mapping and how different attributes of the urban green space and the participants actually influence the perception and how they map those services. So if you're interested to hear more, please contact me or check our website. And this is all for me for today. Thank you very much for the opportunity to participate in this conference.
Thank you. Thank you for this interesting presentation. It's very important to work on this urban planning, particularly in historical towns like Zagreb. There are a couple of studies available, but it's in your study, integrating GIS and other remote sensing tools in development of urban green areas is even more interesting. Thanks for this nice presentation. I will turn the audience if there is any question to Silvia. Thanks again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Want to go ahead? Okay. Let's continue with the third presentation. Okay, it's going to be online again. The presenter, Adem, is going to present archaeological sites in urban centers and problems with construction phenomena in this urban area. Please go ahead.
Professor. Dear participants, dear professors, I have prepared my presentation in Albanian language, but in respect of the foreign scholars, I will try to translate in English. So my subject of the presentation is a little different from the earlier presentations. And its topic is talk about ecological sites in urban centers and the problems with construction phenomena in these urban areas. Albania has a very rich ecological and cultural heritage, which is an important part of the Mediterranean basin as well. Albania, as an European country, has followed the protective policy of its cultural heritage. And we can see some state institutions which duty is to discover and to protect their cultural heritage, such as Ministry of Culture, and institution for discovering and studying them is Institute of Archaeology of Academy of Science, which I presented here. I am the ecologist and on the same time the director of Institute of Ecology of Academy of Science of Albania. We can talk about some risk about ecological monuments and ecological centers, such as the lack of a strategy, national strategy for the protection of heritage, a real good management of cultural heritage between state institutions, the good managing of the risk to cultural heritage, etc. Some more detailed risk about the cultural heritage of Albania. The constructions without criterion in urban centers. Some excavation without scientific criterion. Some damage by the some clandestine hunter treasure, and some other crimes factors such as the humidity of the air, or the near the position near the sea, and the smog of the air, etc. So another direction of our job of work is discovering and conservations of the archaeological monuments of which Institute of Archaeology is in collaboration with Institute of Culture Protection of Ministry of Culture, and by this collaboration, we have some important archaeological monuments in Albania. I am honored to mention here some of our professors has been very good specialists, Professor Lazar Papayani and Kociorzegu. By their work, we have sought monument of Agonoteti in Apollonia and some monuments in Dyrrhachium and in Butront. I have chosen to speak about this conference only two large cities like Durrës and Butrinti, which are more risked about from the constructions. Some Durrës. We have talked about Roman Therma, or in a Roman Therma is about 2nd, 3rd century AD, is discovered by Professor Vangel Toci in the middle of the 60 years of the last century. But unfortunately, they have been covered by the modern constructions. Another monument is been covered by modern discoveries is a collector by Paleo-Byzantine collector of 5th century AD, which is we can see only by this gate, iron gate, but is under the large palace in Durrës. Another is circle forum, a Paleo-Byzantine, is constructed by the time of Anastasius I. Anastasius I has been, as you know, a Byzantine Empire, which was born in Durrës, Dyrrhachium, and so he invested some of imperial funds to his town. So that's the reason that Dyrrhachium is the most important centers of the Byzantine Empire in this 5th and 6th century AD. Another mosaic has been covered by a building, a modern villa in Durrës, is a mosaic near the sport palace in Dyrrhachium city. Each has been discovered by Professor Scanderan Amali and Giovanna Dam in 1974. Is a mosaic of an upside. Is a motif with acanthus leaves, combined with spirals motifs. And its cornice has been written on inscription, which the authors, the upper authors, have published. Another damage of our heritage culture is been in 2016, 2021 in Dures, near the Venetian Tora, is about Veliera project. That is near the Veliera project is the wall of Anastasio. You know, or maybe you know, Anastasio has built a circling wall to protect his town, Duracium. Is the southeast part of this wall near the Veliera. What is Veliera? Veliera is this one, near the Venetian Tower of Dures, of Duracium, now Duracium, Dures, which is the most representative symbol of Duracium. Another monument, very important monument, is Amphitheatre in Dursit, Amphitheatre of Duracium. Amphitheatre of Duracium is discussing between among studies about the time of his building. First of all, Amphitheatre of Duracium has been mentioned first of all by Barletti in 1537 AD, which considered as excellent and wise constructions, and is one of the most one of the largest amphitheaters in the Mediterranean basin. Some gallery of theaters, but the time of it is discussed about the time of its discovery. I just mentioned before. The time is between the time of Trajan and Hadrian. In Louvre, we can see in Museum of Louvre an inscription who talk about 12 couple of gladiators who have been a battle in Dures in behalf of the inauguration of the library of the city. So many of us scholars think that the amphitheatre is a building, is a construction of Trajan times, 170 AD, and some of them think about the time of the construction maybe belong to Hadrian time, 117, 138 AD. The second opinion is based on the technical construction of the amphitheater. The database about amphitheater is being published by our colleague Lida Mirai. To her article, I have based my presentation. Now, another very important monument is is the mosaic of Orfeo. Mosaic of Orfeo in Dures. No. Sorry for mosaic of Orfeo is this one. I would like to show you. I have chosen one excellent photos. That's is the mosaic of Orfeo. You know Orfeo, he's a mythological poet and singer. And the image of Orfeo has been described by Pythagoras, Istoni, Fraculi, Virgili, etc. It is saved under the modern house today, but the state, the Ministry of Culture, is trying to buy this house because its owner live out abroad. And so we have, as an institute, have planned to make some discover some excavation to discover this fantastic mosaic of polychrome mosaic as well, you know. Now, that is our inner problems with Ministry of Culture. And now the Butrint. You know, Butrint is a very important city, archaeological sites, and is a treasure of our archaeological heritage. Before I going on, I have to tell you that in Acropole have been discovered late bronze pottery by our Professor Franno Prandi in 1956. And some polygonal, in the 5th century BC, Butrint has been settled by polygonal walls. Some photos, some satellite of polygonal walls of the end of 5th century BC, these walls. And Lion Gate, Scare Gate, a general view of Butrint. I believe everyone has visited it. A theater of Butrint discovered by Ugolini. A general view of Butrint, theater again. Complex architectonical buildings of Butrint, the same water, and the baptistery of the 5th, 6th century AD, the Paleo-Byzantine time. And it was Basilica of Butrint of 6th century AD, and Venetian Tower in the Acropole of Butrint. Now, to discuss about Butrint, maybe it's another auditor, because I have to say with a few words that Butrint is Illyrian Epirotean city, which is founded by Prasaibet, and Butrint is the center of Prasaibet koinon. And for this, we have counted the Illyr, have been Illyrian tribes by from the Epirus koinon, as they have called by these Tugeditis, Kylaxi, Ephori, Polybi, Straboni, etc. And now I have chosen a slide on between communication, a letter, communication between Cicerone and his close friend Pompon Aticu. The last one has built a new villa near the Butrinti, Villa Amaltea. Amaltea is the name of the god who has felled the Zeus who have been as a child. Right? Zeus had been as a child. And the Cicerone, the essence of these letters is the trying of Cicerone to help his friend Pompon Aticu the aim of which is in his property is not to be laid to the Roman soldiers. And so the Cicerone has described the Villa Amaltea of Pompon Aticu with romantic notes. I have chosen it only to say what is Butrinti for us. What is Butrinti for us? I'm very glad because as you are so pleasant from your property you just have bought. So you are wiser than me because your house, new house is in Butront, very, very a very nice place to live, etc. Now, the last slide is what can we do? What can we do to protect the heritage culture? Trying to construct, trying to build up a new strategy, national strategy between institutions and Ministry of Culture, trying to do a good management, trying to do some excavations. Excavation, you know, are two groups. Excavations are systematic excavations carried out by specialists of Institute of Archaeology, and rescue excavations, which are carried out by Ecology of Rescue. But our attention is concentrated to systematic excavation, because excavation is very important for us, as excavation is an operation in the moment of time in the underground archive of our history. So I thank you for your attention, and I am ready for your questions as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for this nice presentation. It's important to focus on the archaeological sites and buildings, which are sometimes stuck in the middle of the urban city.
Change something.
So we have to
Thank you.
preserve them. If there's any question, then we can continue with the next presentation. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next presentation is given by me, so I will move forward. Well, good afternoon, everybody. First of all, I would like to thank you for inviting us for this such an important event. I would like to thank Professor Haska and other colleagues for being here. It was an honor for us to be here and present our works that we have done in Turkey. I'm from Bursa, city of Bursa. Maybe you are familiar of the city. It's a very historical town, and it's also subject to continuous development, city development in some of the provinces. So in this presentation, I will focus on a study conducted by me and my colleague, Professor Zenure. This is an initial part of our project. We are planning to continue with the economical and socio-economical aspects of this study. But in this part, I will focus on using the I3 canopy model. Maybe some of you are familiar, one of the common program used for assessing the urban areas, urban green areas particularly. I will try to keep it fast because I see the program. We are kind of behind the program. We have to keep going quickly. So our colleagues mentioned about the urban areas, the main definition and importance of the urban areas. I will just skip those parts quickly. We can maybe mention about the benefits that were also mentioned. Ecological benefits, social benefits, and health benefits are very important, particularly in big cities like metropolitan cities. And current challenges is rapid urbanization. The expansion of residential and commercial infrastructure at the expense of green spaces are unfortunately faced in these big cities. An increased demand for the land due to population growth, leading to conversion of green areas into impervious surfaces, such as buildings, roads, and other impervious structures. So the main objective of this part of the study is primarily assessing the changes in urban green areas in Mudanya province of Bursa, which is on the coast of Marmara Sea, one of the inner sea in Turkey. It's the north part of Bursa. And we conducted this research for a 20-year period, starting from 2004, and we have also images from 2014 and finally 2024. And we used the I3, one of the tools is I3 Canopy under I3 program sets. We use this program to measure and analyze land cover changes and focusing on the reduction on expansion of green areas. So we use the images, satellite images provided by the Google Earth Pro with very high resolution starting from 2004. And we have three series of images, 2004, 14, and 24. Mudanya, which is located in, yes, here, in last 10 years, particularly, become a very famous town, locating on the Marmara Sea, and also it attracts many tourists, inner tourists or international tourists to visit this area. So it affects the residential development in this area, we assume. The rapid population growth, since people tend to move in this province, and also there are daily visits, or increase the population daily. And conversion of green areas into residential and commercial development is a major issue. And expansion of impervious surfaces such as roads and buildings, which is done with the expense of green spaces. So I briefly talk about the I3 Canopy program, which is a GIS-based tool used for assessing land cover and green areas. I3 Canopy is tool of the I3 suite development, developed by the USDA Forest Service, freely available online. You can use this program, and you can also define your study area boundaries, integrated with ArcGIS software. The boundary can be converted from a shapefile, and this program is able to open this boundary. We have to use a random points sampling in order to search for the land use changes over time. So data collection is done by using a I3 Canopy tool. First, the boundary image of the Mudanya was generated based on the information provided by the municipality. And we used only 100 sampling points for this particular study, but we plan to expand the area. And in this case, we have to use at least around 500 points, I think, to get the legitimate results out of this study if you have a larger area. And points were classified for each period based on the visible land cover in the selected imagery. So these are the images coming from 2004, 14, and 24 here. The satellite images these are the satellite images provided by the Google Earth Pro program. So this I3 Canopy program has defined its own land use types, and it also allows users to include additional land use types. In this case, for example, we included orchard area, which is one of the major green area that has been affected by the city development, and particularly olive tree orchards in this area converted to the city development, residential areas, so on. But other important land use types or land cover types related with vegetation is grass, herbaceous, also tree and shrub is considered under the green area, and we also included orchard, as I mentioned before. And these are the impervious structures, buildings, roads, and others can be also included here. You may have also soil or bare ground, so you can define some of the points if they are located on these kind of areas. This is showing how to integrate boundary of the study area to I3 Canopy program using this tool here, and you can convert the study area image to KML or KMS. As you know, these are the image format that can be opened in Google Earth Pro. So you can generate your study area within the I3 Canopy, and then you export the boundary of the image using this format, and you can open it in Google Earth Pro after that. So you are going to be able to evaluate the previous images. Currently, the I3 canopy program provides you the most current Google Earth image, 2024. In order to access the previous images, you have to export this data and open this boundary in previous images using Google Earth Pro program. Okay, these are the results provided by the program. It provides a graphical results, image, and also data covering the percentage of the area based on the number of points, of course, for each land cover types. So you basically run this program for 2004 and again repeat it using the same points for 2014 and 2024. In this case, you can evaluate the results and you can compare them in order to indicate what's the results, what's the change of the land use change results in the area. So these are the comparison. Of course, we have encountered a reduction in green areas. The results indicated that reduction of about 30% almost. In the total green areas, when we say green area, we include grass, herbicides, orchard, and tree shrubs. In last 20 years, means from 2004 to 2024, we lost that much to the city development. While in the reduction was only 9% in last 10 years. So most of the reduction started from 2004, we can say, but even between 2014 and 2024, we encountered about 9% of loss in green areas. It was also found that the greatest reduction, 20%, occurred, as I mentioned, in first decade from 2004 to 2014. And there's an increase in impervious services, notably rise in impervious services by 13% from 2004 to 14. These are because of the road constructions and residential areas expanding the construction sites. And these reflects extensive urban expansion with an increase of 22% in 2 decades. If you consider whole 20 years, so this whole increase was about 22%, you can say. So there are some implications. Urban heat island effect, it has been also mentioned in one of the beginning presentations, if you remember. So increase in previous surfaces contribute to higher temperature in the urban areas. We have also land surface temperature high in the city, but if you lose the green areas, this temperature even will be higher. So you have to protect urban areas to provide these heat islands. Reduction in vegetation exacerbates the urban heat island effects, impacting the local climate. And loss of recreational spaces is another problem. This diminishes the green area, reduce opportunities for recreational activities of the community, and also negatively affects the quality of life and social interactions among residents. Residential well-being is also negatively affected due to decreased green areas, which lead to reduction in quality, less natural cooling, and fewer mental health benefits. And overall, the reduction in green areas, particularly olive orchards in this province, in Mudanya, can affect socio-economical conditions of local people. So this has to be focused on in maybe follow-up study, how it affects the socio-economical life. So the reduction in green areas, increase in previous surfaces reflects the border challenges of urban reconstruction in Mudanya, and highlights the difficulty in balancing the rapid urban development with the need to preserve green areas in city center. So you have to come up with some balance. So you have to allow city development, but at the same time, we have to preserve as much green areas as possible in the city center. Aligns with the finding from other provinces in Bursa, where urban green areas have similarly diminished due to unregulated urban expansions in some areas. And comparative analysis shows a common trend of reduced green area cover in cities facing rapid urbanization and limited planning resources. An urgent need for policies that prioritize the integration and preservation of urban green areas in Mudanya for future development plans, and emphasize the importance of sustainable urban planning practices that balance growth with environmental conservation, and recommends the adaptation of green infrastructure initiatives and the implementation of zoning laws to protect existing green areas and promote the development of new ones. As a conclusion, As we realized, based on the results, there's a significant reduction in green areas in this region in last 2 decades, about 23% reduction in orchards, particularly. And there's a need for the improved urban green space management for city development plans for the future, considering the social, socio-economical, and also cultural aspects in this area. Some other recommendations are development and force policies that prioritize green areas, preservation, and urban expansions, and implementing zoning regulations that protect existing green areas, and mandate the inclusion of green areas in new developments, and encourage community involvement in maintenance and expansion of urban green areas, which is very critical. So for future studies, as we can partially use GIS tools in the future studies, GIS or precision kind of researches can involve to get better results. So as a future research, we'll explore the use of sophisticated GIS and remote sensing technologies to monitor and analyze urban green areas, and comparative studies with other provinces could provide insight into effective green area management strategies. And thank you for your attention. Do you have any questions, or we may continue with the next presentation? Okay. The last presentation of this session is going to be given by Susanna from Serbia. Okay. On here. Okay. Online again. Okay, just we'll wait to connect online. Let me give you the title of the presentation, which is Visual Evaluation of Trees in Part of the Urban Forest, where the construction of multifunctional buildings is planned. So she's going to focus on this particular area in terms of visual evaluation of the trees in her presentation.
Hi.
Okay, Susan, can you hear us?
Hi. Hello. Hello, everyone. My name is Suzana Mitrovic. I'm a senior research associate in Department of Environmental Protection from Institute of Forestry, Belgrade, Serbia. Today, in front of my team, I will present you a paper named, as you said, the visual evaluation of trees in special part of Belgrade, actually in urban forest in Belgrade, named Košutnjak, may be familiar for some of you. Okay, can you see my presentation?
Yes, you may continue select. Yeah, go ahead. It's a full screen.
It's okay?
That looks fine.
Okay. Can I just turn off camera? It's easier for me. Okay. As you know, all developing countries have rapid construction, especially in the big cities. Unfortunately, this development frequently compromise green areas and urban forests. In this paper, I will shortly show you some results of visual evaluation of greenery that our team was carried out in 2016 in the area of the sports center Košutnjak, which is located inside of urban forest as a part of green infrastructure of the city of Belgrade. The aim of our project was the initial valorization of existing greenery on that area. At that time, there was sports fields that did not meet standards for training of elite athletes and training and competition of elite athletes. So that's why city municipality proposed building of multi-functional hall, indoor Olympic swimming pool, and improvement of accommodation capacity with existing hotel. For collecting data, we use visual tree assessment methodology. Data were collected through measurement and evaluation. The measured data were diameter of chest diameter and total height of trees, and evaluated parameters were vitality and decorativeness of trees. The vitality of trees was assessed using 5-point scale. 0.1 is a seriously diseased, damaged, or dead tree, and the 0.5 is completely healthy tree with excellent vitality. Mechanical or entomological damage or phytopathological disease has big influence on vitality rating of the trees. Decorativeness of trees is aesthetic value of individual trees, and it's mostly based on subjective evaluation of researchers. The aesthetic quality of trees is also assessed on 5-point scale, where 0.1 has a tree without aesthetic qualities, and 0.5 is a tree with excellent aesthetic qualities. In the next couple slides, you can see the pictures of vegetation at the moment of evaluation. In the study area, 505 tree individuals were identified, distributed in 43 smaller groups, as you can see on a map on your right side. In our examination, we identified 30 species of trees, 5 coniferous and 25 broadleaf species. Among coniferous, Pinus nigra is the most numerous with 295 individuals. The average value of vitality of black pine was 3 and the decorativeness was 4 in a moment of evaluation. Among broadleaf, oak are the most numerous with 27 individuals, Norway maple 26, and silver birch 19 individuals. The biggest construction is located in grass areas that was used as sports fields. The urban project planning requires removal of 21 trees and approximately 70% of area occupied by invasive shrubs and undergrowth of trees. As you can see in a picture on the left, most of constructions were planned to be built on trampled lawns. On the picture, actually, the urban planning project in the middle shows that a large number of planned construction have not been carried out, and you see that those areas are still green. Unfortunately, we are not familiar with that. Is it be that at the end like that, or they are just they will build it in the future? In the image downloaded from Google Earth a few days ago, you can see that it's not too different from the same image taken almost 9 years ago. Although we weren't involved in the creation of urban planning project, this example shows that the stability of green infrastructure wasn't too much changed or damaged. In this picture, you can see even better how building of sports facilities has been well integrated into green infrastructure. There are certain difficulties with the greenery on the top of the roof, but we hope that over time they will find some right species that will adapt to climate change that are becoming more extreme by years. Um, 33 species with 505 individuals were recorded, which on 5-point scale have an average tree vitality of 3.10 and decorativeness of 3.08. At the end, I will briefly conclude. Although it's planned to remove less than 5% of the analyzed greenery during the reconstruction of the entire area, which is necessary to be replaced, I must point out that an initial visual evaluation of trees and green areas is essential for conservation of urban forests and greenery during the construction planning. Thank you for your attention, and thank you very much for the opportunity to participate in
Thank
your
you. Thank you for this nice presentation, Sona.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, Thanks again for the presentation. That was our final presentation for the session. So we will have like a 10 minutes break, maybe.